Hello, welcome to Makeup on Point. I am Christy and welcome to another day of movies and makeup. In today's video, we'll be concluding our pre-millennium Batman series with the movie Batman and Robin that came out in 1997. Now this movie pretty much ended it all for the whole Batman franchise. This movie has been called the biggest catastrophe of all comic book movies. And while we discuss Batman and Robin, I am going to be turning myself into Mr. Freeze. Well, I'm going to make it a gender-bent Mr. Freeze. I'm going to become Mrs. Freeze. So let's get to talking, let's get to body painting, and I will see you in the next slide. Hello, we're back. I blocked my eyebrows out. That video will be in the description box below as always. I'm just going to grab this Mehron Paradise paint. This is in the color light blue. I'm just going to use this as a base because Mr. Freeze in Batman and Robin has a bluish silvery skin tone. So we're just gonna put this all as I start painting my base on, just adding some water. Let's start on our facts. So with the movie Batman Forever that came out in 1995, it was actually a box office success since people actually kind of enjoyed that movie. So it got a lot of money out of it because at the time Batman was very popular. So with the success of that movie, Warner Brothers fast-tracked another sequel. And with this one, since they wanted to concentrate on the marketing and selling it to kids, Joel Schumacher, who came back to direct this movie, who also directed Batman Forever, decided to bring it back to the campier tones like the 1960s Batman. And also was inspired by the works of Dick Sprang, who worked on the Golden Age era of the Batman comics. Now, during the filming of Batman Forever, Val Kilmer and Joel Schumacher didn't have the best relationship, honestly. They barely talked. Val Kilmer kind of had like an attitude on set for what has been reported. And there was even a moment where Val Kilmer and Joel Schumacher wouldn't even talk on set. They would just get the job done and not speak to each other, not even a word. It was even said that they wouldn't even speak for 2 weeks during filming of Batman Forever. So with that relationship on the rocks, Kilmer didn't come back for Batman and Robin, and he decided to pursue another film at the time, which kind of made Joel Schumacher happy anyways because he didn't care to have Val Kilmer back again. So he decided to actually hire George Clooney to be the next Batman. Because with his lighter tone of a movie, he felt that George Clooney actually would help with that lighter interpretation of The Dark Knight. Unfortunately for George Clooney, this would be the role that he would apologize for the rest of his life. But more on that story later. Alright, now that I'm all blue like the genie actually, I'm going to highlight using a cream base makeup. This one's from Nye. And I'm gonna highlight. I kind of left it patchy because if you look close enough on Arnold Schwarzenegger's makeup in the movie, it actually looks very like speckled on, like if you took a brush and just Speaking of Mr. Freeze and Arnold Schwarzenegger, before Arnold Schwarzenegger was actually cast, Patrick Stewart was actually in the talks to become Mr. Freeze first, which kind of makes sense. He kind of looks like, since Batman the Animated Series at the time was running, and that's where Warner Brothers really was trying to take hold of that kid dynamic for the Batman franchise. Patrick Stewart kind of looks like the cartoon version of Mr. Freeze, but they had other plans. They felt that Mr. Freeze had to be big and strong like he was chiseled out of ice. So they chose Arnold Schwarzenegger instead for the role. They even rewrote the script for him to accommodate his casting, and they ended up making him the top billed character on the movie and gave him a $25 million salary for the movie. I'm just gonna take this cosmic blue cream color. I'm gonna cream contour now. While I cream contour, let's discuss how the set was for the film. Seems like it wasn't really an enjoyable experience on set. It wasn't enough that, you know, film wasn't enjoyable to people. But with the movie being a catastrophic outcome, it kind of makes sense that the set was a bit ugh. Chris O'Donnell, who plays Robin, he even said, and I quote, "It just felt like everything got a little soft this second time around. On Batman Forever, it felt like a real set, like he was really making a movie. When it comes to Batman and Robin, it just felt like they were just making one big kids toy commercial." He even said on set that Joel Schumacher would sit on the crane and yell on the megaphone that, "All right, everybody, remember, this is a cartoon," since he wanted to play off that campy aesthetic, which we also see in the many puns in every freaking scene of the movie. Kind of just made everyone not want to take acting on set seriously with a tone like that, because they felt like they weren't really making a movie. They felt like they were making just one big commercial. You can honestly sense that, because the whole movie, as you watch it, kind of feels like one big joke. I mean, there's even a Batman credit card in the film. You have Mr. Freeze saying ice puns like "chill" and everything in every other scene that he's in. It just became one big example of what not to do with a comic book movie. I had to take a minute. I did one eye done. Now I'm gonna do the other one. I'm gonna be using some Sugar Pill eyeshadows. This one is Hypnotic and Afterparty. Some of this JD Glow Bora, and a mix of some Sugar Pill pigments. This one is Grand Tiara, which is the silver one. Now back to the onset tone of the movie. The whole problem with Warner Brothers, and when it comes to DC, is it's like Warner Brothers wants a lot of control, which is fine, but they want it to be controlling in the way, especially in the 90s, where it's just quick money all the time, which I've mentioned in the last video. But there's also a way to have a comic book movie and you could still write it well and still be able to market toys to kids. I mean, we see that today with the Marvel movies. Even with like when Batman Begins came out, that was a much darker Batman story compared to this campy Batman and Robin, and you were still able to sell toys easily. And then on top of that, when it comes to the Batman and Robin, we finally get an on-screen Batgirl in the form of Alicia Silverstone. But however, they changed Barbara's story in the movie, where she is Alfred's niece instead of Commissioner Gordon's daughter. But on top of that happening with the character storyline, Alicia Silverstone unfortunately dealt with a lot of bullying and ridicule being Batgirl. And she dealt with a whole bunch of body shaming, which I felt so sorry for her reading these stories and articles about that time in her life. It was even mentioned that most of the scenes they had for Batgirl was even cut out of the movie just because she gained a few pounds and they said it didn't look right. Oh, Hollywood, you're so nice. So she gained a few pounds, as any teenager would at the time. That like it was said that the wardrobe department had to just refit her costumes on a couple occasions to get her into her bat suit, which already is an uncomfortable suit to get into and act in. But unfortunately, word got around about this, and a storyboard artist for the film decided to draw a funny little cartoon movie poster about her struggles with this, and called it Clueless 2: The Casting of Batgirl. It became a private joke in the art department about this, which first of all, I don't see how that's a joke. To be making fun of someone who's struggling with their weight to fit into a costume, I don't see what's so funny that someone gained a few pounds. I don't see the joke in the matter. But unfortunately, that drawing got spread around by a production assistant on the set. He decided to make copies and he posted it in a few places, and everyone saw this mock cartoon about Alicia Silverstone's weight. Now the worst part is it's one thing to have people on set that you work with bullying you and body shaming you. The press and the public got a hold of this. Ooh, they got a hold of this information, and they decided to take that information and decided to publicly ridicule Alicia Silverstone about her weight. How she was being too fat to fit in her costume for the movie. And it even got so bad that the paparazzi would chase Alicia Silverstone down in public, and they decided to chant "fat girl" to her to the theme of the Batman theme song. Like, what? It just really pisses me off, because like, here is an 18-year-old girl. She's dealing with a big pressure to be in this movie. All eyes are on her, obviously. And here are these grown-ass adults, men first, but women got involved too, making fun of her just because she gained a few pounds. Like, but you look at her, she looks amazing. And what's a few pounds? Like, you're calling that fat? First, I do not believe in bullying. I do not believe in bullying or criticizing people that is meant to bring them down. Because first of all, one, that says something a lot about you, that you're projecting such hate onto other people. And two, I've always been taught that if you have nothing nice to say, you don't say it at all. Which I feel like a lot of people need to learn that phrase nowadays. Body shaming and hurting this poor girl, especially when, like, here we are, we're getting a female representation of a superhero again. And she's getting like the worst type of ridicule and hate based on her body. It just, the stress that can put on a person, it's just a lot. And it just, I don't know, it just pisses me off when people bully people over their weight, like, especially to this level, grown-ass adults on a teenager. Like, are you serious? Like, we need to be better people on that. It even came to the point that Joel Schumacher, the director, he had to defend her in multiple interviews and press meetings. And he even said, he's like, what's this girl's biggest sin? Just eating food? Like, even came to a point he lashed out at in a magazine interview, and that was like, it's normal for a teenager to gain weight every now and then. We all gain weight. It's the way of life. Your body just does things. And he even confronted like the female journalists who were taunting her about this. It was like, when you have so many young people at that time, even today, dealing with like eating disorders, why are you crucifying this girl for gaining a few pounds? Like, is it that serious?
Alright, voiceover Christy is taking over now because my rant started to get really repetitive and just a little too long. So the gist of what I wanted to let you all know is it was a sucky situation for Alicia Silverstone to be Batgirl and being body shamed to that extent. And it's just something I just want to remind you all, like, honestly, you all are perfect just the way you are. And if you want to change something, make sure you're changing it just for yourself and not because someone told you to. Because the only way you're going to be happy is if you're happy for yourself and not trying to please other people. Now, as I highlight the hell out of my face, let's get to our final fact. So, as we all know by now, Batman and Robin it left a bad taste in everyone's mouth. Now, for Joel Schumacher being the director, he blamed the studio pressure to make the film more toyetic, and he just wanted to entertain people as his excuse of why the movie became the way it was. But to this day, well, may he rest in peace now, he always blamed it on Warner Brothers and just wished he could have given a better movie for people. As for George Clooney being our lead actor and, Batman, he has called this film a waste of money, and he's known to refund people their money who saw the film at the time. And in many interviews following that movie, he has apologized on multiple occasions. And it's like, well, that was the worst role I have ever had. But he also thanks the movie because it also did push him to bigger and better roles going forward. And he's lived to have a successful acting career. And you know the movie is bad when Kevin Feige, president of Marvel Studios, has called Batman and Robin the most important comic book movie ever made because of its catastrophic failure, forced major comic book companies and film studios to rethink how they presented comic book based media. Well guys, our makeup is done, montage time.
Here we go. I am Mrs. Freeze. I feel feel more of like a whimsical fantasy Mr. Freeze, Mrs. Freeze. That's gonna get me confused. I added on my wig. This one I got from Amazon, and I popped in my mini black sclera lenses. These are from coloredcontacts.com. I feel like I should be a winter princess, which I guess kind of makes sense. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video and enjoy getting freezified with me today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more videos just like this one. If there are any movies or TV shows you would like to pop up in upcoming videos, please comment down below. As always, be kind to others, love yourself, love every part of yourself with all of your heart. Stay safe and stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.